Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to drag our file from the Echo, our finished Black History Month file from the Echo onto the test drive. Okay, there's projects. Open up a new window. And here's test. Test is very unorganized, but most important folders are images, video, and green screen, logos. All these are the elements that you see within the TriCaster. Today, I'm going to drop the video into video. So Black History Month Town Hall, compressions, version 4.
What compression do you normally drag in? Does it be like an MBR and back in the day?
So I believe most of the stuff that we spit out is just the Adobe default for, I believe, actually I would love to spit out a higher res version of this. I'm actually going to do that. I mean, most of the time we send out review clips that are like almost like a TSV. It's a very small data rate. It's good for somebody to watch. There's not a lot of bandwidth. It gets up on Vimeo really quick. When it gets to the TriCaster, it's going to transcode it into another codec, and it's actually going to up-res it. So if you feed it like a ProRes file, it's actually it's like equal parts. It really wants like a robust codec. We have our version 5 here. I have our test drive over here. Go right into video. I should probably delete some of the shit that's in there. Before I leave, we gotta clear out the TriCaster of all its like old cache files, so like you guys have a lot of space. You don't have to worry about doing that. All the radio recordings eat up a lot of space. All right, so Kevin.
You want to say it out loud, so.
Yeah, or I could narrate while you do.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Kevin's now going to import it into the TriCaster. So he currently has a DDR called up, which is our video playback engine. Give it a second. It always takes a bit because it's got to load all the media. So once he opens up the media browser, the best thing for him to do is go to the bottom left-hand corner and hit Browse. And so we've loaded videos recently, so it immediately defaulted to the folder path I just dropped it in. If we were loading a graphic or something else, we just have to back up one folder to like, whatever it was. Yep. So Kevin's just going to select the top one. And now it's now imported into our DDR. So immediately below the video, you see a T that's circled. And that's just basically letting you know that like the TriCaster cannot guarantee, fluid playback. So Kevin's just gonna click it, and now the TriCaster is transcoding that. Once it's finished transcoding, that's ready to go. I gotta make a phone call in 15 minutes. So while we're waiting for that,
And you can see a little blue, like the gray circle, and you can see the blue progress of it doing its thing.
And when it finishes, that'll disappear altogether. I find it's always beneficial to watch the video through completely as late as you can before the show. Somehow, and I don't know how, every once in a while, somehow an out point gets put in that video, and you like lose like the last couple of seconds of it. We play back a lot of like 30-second commercials, and somehow like 23 seconds and 17 frames in, it's like, how did that out point get there? So it's always good to like see what your duration is, kind of keep that in mind. You know, all right, I know the total videos, what is it, 606, 617?
605.17.
605.17. So, you know, we've had to like, we're playing back a video and I'm like literally scrubbing to the end, hitting out and starting the video over like while we're going. I mean, it's high stakes, but it's low stakes. You know, we're talking to employees here. You know, this isn't one of our nationally facing webcasts, but we definitely do those. So it's a, you know, like the summer is usually big for the stuff that like we pay, like people pay us to produce, and we'll have like multiple people in the studio and all that stuff. So this is just like basically keeping us fresh. So in terms of audio for the show, you know, we have three main sources of audio. We have video playback, we have Mark in the studio, and then we have all the panelists out in Zoom land. So I'll let Kevin label all this shit. On your TriCaster, you have something that says PTZ Select. PTZ Select is going to let you choose our PTZ wall cameras and move them around. If I hit PTZ 1, that's how I'm moving it here. Now, most of the time this stuff is on auto iris, auto focus. You literally just have to make sure that you frame him up decently and he's not fucking going all over the place, you know? So in this case, we haven't done this in quite some time, so I don't even remember what it's set for. So I'm just gonna, each of these inputs has a gear wheel. In each gear wheel is the different settings. Within PTZ, that's where you're gonna get the controls. Like you're gonna get a software version of some of the controls you can do on here. So it looks like actually focus and iris are off. So I'm just going to turn those on. Focus is on. He was pretty much in focus anyway. And the iris is now on. But actually, I think we probably need a white balance. It looks pretty good, but we haven't done this in a long time. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Pretty clean. So for Mark, what I also like to do is I like to put up this logo behind him, but without these letterings. So that's in one of our, now, I mean, we're really getting into the weeds of this, but like if you ever have downtime, have at it, you know? I literally, everything I know is just basically by playing with it. But there's a, you know, it's addition to the DDRs that are here that will be playback. I mean, and in all honesty, Kevin should be here doing this stuff too. But I'm just going to change the graphic from this green. I'm going to actually change it. Copy this. And I'm going to put this behind them. And I really could spend a lot of time on this, so I apologize. But we're going to use a mix effect that basically does our green screen key. It lets us add graphics. I'm going to use Mix Effect 1. Mix Effect 1 is over here. See how it pops up? I'm really going fast here, so I apologize. Mix Effect 1 has his single camera source. That's input 1 over here. And then the secondary layer is graphics 1. So that's the blue. That's why we're seeing blue. I'm going to change it to graphics 2. And wow, you can see it's all blown up. And the reason that is because you can actually zoom in and crop and do some stuff by clicking these little positional arrows.
That's like what you do with the radio show and put 150, 150.
Right. So that's actually why it's blown up, because this is actually saying it's at 150. So I clicked on that gear wheel, and it brought up a position matrix. I could honestly just unclick it, and we're back in business. Now,
So you undo the 150?
Yep, that's all I did. I undid it, and there's Kevin. I honestly would love for Kevin to have a little bit more light on him. But probably do something just like that. CJ, ask Kevin over the voice of God to go grab the piece of paper that's above the light switch. We're gonna have a white balance.
Kevin, can you do me a favor? Can you grab the piece of paper? Where is it?
It's above the light switch.
About the light switch to do white balance? There's a white paper there so we can do the white balance. Let's see how you do that.
Once we create a white balance, it stays until we change the preset or whatever. It actually looks pretty good. Actually, it's probably going to warm it up if I had to guess. It doesn't. To me, it's not. It's a little deceiving. But ultimately, go to the gear wheel again. It's in the PTZ area at the very bottom. White balance. And basically, all I got to do is hit execute. Or I could set temperatures. I could do auto white balance. The auto white balance always makes them look like ghosts. So right now I'm on auto white balance A. I'm going to set this preset. And it looks like it's actually pretty good. I'm actually going to change it. Oh, wow. I don't remember seeing that. Oh, all right. So it white balanced, and it actually made us so our key needs to be adjusted. You could tell him to throw it down.
You can throw it down.
So our key is going to be on the image profile. There's a key ring setting down here. Basically that toggles it on and off. But when I want it on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the green, grab the little swatch. And I usually tend to go like right around the middle. Like you can see some different variations of the numbers here. I usually tend to go right around the middle. Bottom of the wall is darker, the top of the wall is brighter. It's not evenly lit. I did that, and looks pretty good in terms of black, but I think he could probably be cleaned up a little bit. He also has green on, so it's a little hard to see here. But you can see, like, if I zoom in on his face, he's actually kind of transparent. So I'll start by taking my tolerance and smoothness down on my spill suppression. We'll save those for after we do our free up here. Honestly, I usually just play with them. You can see how, you really want this to stay black too. So when I take this tolerance down, that's no bueno. All right, this is pretty solid. He's no longer transparent. Smoothness. It's really shaking out there today. So he's got some green around his head. See smoothness. Whoa!
With Mark will be different because he had hair.
Yeah. So then look at my tolerance on my spill suppression. Just looks at the edge of his hair. But I don't want to do too much, otherwise you start to change his color. See how the color goes away? There's a little green, and there's a little red. Still looks a little dark to me. I wonder if I have some kind of proc amp setting on this. Maybe it's on here. Nope. To me, he looks a little dark. I don't know. Does everybody think he looks a little dark?
If you zoom out, yeah, he looks a little darker, but if you zoom in a little bit, it looks fine.
Yeah. I'm really getting in the weeds here. Because I'm actually wondering. All these cameras have a little bit of vibration. And I just want to make sure that the optical image stabilization is off, because that will actually cause it to vibrate, believe it or not. You think it would actually be the opposite way, but it doesn't. I just want to make sure that the optical image stabilization is off. So I'm going to come to the device web page. Like in the options of each input, you'll have an input option that'll say device web page, and basically that's going to bring up an IP browser window that gives me like just all the settings for the camera. This is the only way to get like all the shit in the camera. So they all are. I think most of them are set up so the passwords are already in here. If they're not, there's passwords on these post-its underneath the left monitor. Now, in this case, I think I'm working with image and audio. I very rarely am in here, so I very rarely change anything. I think it's over here. Image, audio, image position, image adjust. And you'll see OIS, OIS, OIS. Where are you? OIS. Maybe it's not in here. Maybe it's in system. Ah ha ha. So in system, OIS is off. So it's just actually, it's vibration from the walls. So, I mean, really, we want to get it to be better. We could put a little bit of a weight on it, but we can't put too much weight on it. For our purposes, it's probably fine. I just think his color to me looks off.
I saw an option on top. It's like if you mount it like in a monitor and you mount it like in the wall, maybe you switch that around, make a difference.
No, that's what switches it.
Oh, switch the frame itself. Okay.
I just bumped up the contrast a little bit.
Looks better now.
It also has flesh tone mode on. I don't know what that makes a difference. Last time Mark was in here, he looked kind of orange, so we didn't have time to do this. But like once I do this, I actually could create a preset, so you don't really have to do any of that. So you could actually just click the button. So I'm gonna do my key again because I changed some settings. Boom, that looks much better, much more vibrant, I think. So now that he's here, I click the gear wheel, PTZ, and I'm just gonna take a snapshot of this shit. Boom. Now, next time you come in, you literally click the gear wheel, go to PTZ, and click on that. Everything that I just did, done. So you pull up Echo 7, throw the lights up, hit that, you should be good to go. If it doesn't change anything, gotta restart the TriCaster, because sometimes it won't work. But we're good.